Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising. Family, before I get into what I'm going to talk about today, I was actually getting ready to record, and Spirit told me that I needed to thank you guys. As this year in the Gregorian calendar of 2024 is coming to a close, it is important for me to recognize you where you are in the world and tell you thank you, because we're moving on this journey together, and you decided that the time is now. So in the US, in Arizona, Nevada, Virginia, California, Connecticut, Ohio, Florida, I thank you. I thank you. In Moscow, in Russia, baby, I thank you. Our branches have crossed on our life trees, on our path, and I thank you. Senegal, baby, I thank you so much, because big things are happening, and I'm so glad you're on this journey. South Australia, baby, let's get it. I thank you. I thank you. We're making big things happen, baby. In Zealand, Denmark, baby, I see you too, and I thank you. So much appreciated, because it's not easy wanting to take this walk, and I thank you. And you, in Tel Aviv, in Israel, don't think I forgot about you. Baby, I appreciate you. I thank you, because sometimes the hardest thing is deciding that you're gonna go on this journey. And it feels sometimes that you're going against the grain, family, but you're not. What you're going against is the norm that's been set for you, instead of what's really the norm is what's from the universe, what your intuition says. We're of the stars, family. We're of the stars. And everybody's been chosen for something, some greater than others, but chosen for something nonetheless. So to all of you, thank you. I truly thank you, because I started this at the end of September, beginning of October. And some of you have been rocking with me from Jump Street, and I appreciate it. So, so much. I appreciate you. And if you've been rocking with me from the beginning, you know here recently, the past 7 days or so, because I was putting something up every single day. I went to go record one day, and Spirit said no. We're going to talk about obedience today. Spirit told me no. I was a little confused at first, because Spirit was giving me information to talk about. I was getting downloads, and Spirit told me no. I needed to wait about a week, and then I needed to post. I would know when the time would come, because Spirit just said at the time I would know when the time would come. I'm obedient when I hear Spirit talk to me. Most of the time. because just like everybody else along this journey, there are things that we miss, or there are things that we know we need to do, but we don't do, or things we know we don't need to do, but we do it anyway, for one reason or another. And it happens. It happens. See, and I say most of the time because Spirit had asked me, or actually told me, that there was something that I was supposed to do for 3 days. And I did not do this. And how it works for me is when Spirit tells me to do something, I get how it comes to me. Okay. I'll get recommendations, I'll get suggestions, I'll get commands, I'll get questions. Spirit will suggest to me, well, maybe you should do this. Spirit will tell me this is what you need to do. Sometimes Spirit will ask me, do I feel like doing this right now? Right now. See, and when that happens, it's something I know I'm eventually have to get back to. Because some things just can't be avoided when you're doing this. When you're growing, there are just some things that cannot be avoided. Now, it's gotten, for me, it's gotten to where in my life when I'm not obedient to Spirit, I'll know when something happens that's adverse, or a touch of turbulence, or a negative response, and 9 times out of 10, I'll know where it's coming from, and I'll know why. Because Spirit lets me know that it's listening, and what I'm asking for is the ocean. Spirit is only asking me to just pick up a few rocks. If I can't do that, why should you see what I'm saying? And I say being obedient because when you sit and you listen, when you listen to yourself, you listen to the universe, you would be surprised at what you hear. You would be surprised at what makes sense. You would be surprised at the things that you are forced to come to realization with, that you don't want to come into realization with. Part of being obedient to Spirit, being obedient to the universe, is knowing and accepting where you are, what you are chosen to do, and that you are responsible for what you know. You are responsible for what you know. I've mentioned this quite a bit. And this is part of the reason because of course I asked Spirit, why the sudden, this is a change. I've been recording every day. I've been uploading every day. Why is there a break? And first Spirit told me it's the law of repetition. Some things need to be heard again. And then I was like, okay, I got that. I talked about that. And then earlier this morning, when I was making my tea, Spirit said, the break was because sometimes so much information is absorbed that it's just an absorption of information. It's not an implementation of the information. There's nothing wrong with getting it, but if all you're doing is just getting the information and you're not doing anything with it, that's where the issue comes in. You have to execute the law of repetition. And that's when Spirit put it all together. When you get information and you're just piling on top of the information, you're creating a small sense of overwhelm in yourself because you're not absorbing the information like you need to. At this point, at this very moment when I'm doing this, I have 61 podcasts recorded with their subsequent videos on YouTube, and it's a black screen. And Spirit gave me the example, if there was just listening to all 61 of those, and then just feeling good and you're moving in what you're learning, that's cool. But imagine what happens when you do it again. It's the law of repetition. When you get bombarded with so much information, sometimes all you're doing is listening to the information. You're not really able to process. You're not really able to go back over and go deep dive into the information like you need to. I have no shame about saying this. When I first started even now, not when I first started my journey, even now, I will listen to the same webinars, the same bits of information a couple of times, because you hear something once. When you go back and you hear it again, you're hearing something different. And see, when you're moving along your journey, how this goes is when you hear something the first time, it's like a cake. Spirit is laying down the first part. It's layers. When you go back and you listen to it again, you're picking something up and you're layering it on top. What you're doing is you're building. You're building. And even though it seems to some people, and it may seem for a moment, that you're listening to the same thing over and over again, but what's happening is that you're reprogramming your mind and you're processing, and now you're picking up more jewels that you didn't even pick up on the first time. And that's the whole point of this, because when you pick up more jewels, baby, you're moving forward. You're moving forward. You you ever wonder how people can take one scripture and get so many different meanings? Because there's what you read, and then 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 there's what reads you. Thank you, Spirit. You have to know that you don't have to run so fast. It's not a gathering of information. It's an absorption of the information that you're coming across. There is such a thing as moving so fast, and you put so much information in your bag, and your bag is so heavy, now you're dragging it while you're running, and now you got a hole in your bag, and some of that information that you started with is now coming out. And that's because you were so busy. You didn't go back in the bag to go back and look at the information that you picked up to begin with. Even though this is a marathon, understand you're going to come across the same track a couple of times. Are you picking up any jewels? Have you dropped some jewels? Are you paying attention at all to what Spirit is telling you to do? Because if you're just listening to one thing, listening to the next thing, listening to the next thing, that's good. That's excellent. What could be better is when you listen to the one thing, you process and maybe listen to something else. But narrow it down and give yourself time. Listen to one thing or read the one thing. Listen and read to something else. And then do it again and ask Spirit, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because there'll be some things that you'll read or you'll listen to or you'll see, and it's going to make you just feel a certain way. Don't go past that. Because something there is what Spirit is needing for you to get. And a lot of times we're so absorbed in loving the information that we're getting that we're bypassing that feeling because we think it's a feeling because we're getting the information, not knowing that the information that we just got is what created the feeling. And we need to dig into that. Nothing is ever by chance. I'm not a woman of many words. I've just reached a point in my life where whenever I do open my mouth to speak, my few words have weight. That was not an easy thing for me to come into, but there's a thing with my bloodline and my birthright and what is mine and what I'm chosen to do that I'm chosen to do. This did not come easy. I was not always sure of my words, but that's a whole nother thing. And if you've been following me and listening, I thank you because you know part of my story. But my story is still being written. It is written in the stars for me, and I'm on the path and moving in that direction so I can live in that beautiful, beautiful life created for me. And I want you to do that for yourself. Make sure you execute the power of repetition, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be this. I am not selfish. I am here to give because Spirit says this is what I'm supposed to do. But whatever message that you get that resonates with you, let it resonate with you 100 times over. There have been things that I've listened to literally hundreds of times. I have no shame in saying that. Because me being serious about what I'm called to do and knowing that there's more than this, and then answering the call and then deciding to be obedient, making choices other people wouldn't make, and facing opposition normal people didn't even want to face, not backing down and standing my ground. I stood up where Spirit thought that I would falter. I stood up where any other time I would have faltered. But I stood because Spirit knew that I wouldn't at that time. Some things you're going to get over and over again because there's tests. What are you going to do? How obedient to you are the lesson? Even though that you're good, something that you're doing is not right and it's creating this rift because you're not obedient. You're half-assed in your obedience, man. Now, I don't know if some of you, get it and realize it like I do. So I didn't get it. I didn't realize it at first, how the consequences, I could link them to literally what it was that I was not obedient to Spirit to. Sometimes it's small. I knew I should have picked this up at the store, even though I didn't know why I was supposed to get it. I should have picked it up because Spirit was like, ooh, you need this. And I was like, I don't know why I want that. I don't really. And then a day or two later on the same day, I need that. It's even small little things. If I wasn't obedient to Spirit, to have the few days where that time in between my last podcast and today, I wouldn't have gotten some of the insight that I have gotten. I wouldn't have received some of the downloads. And I also wouldn't really have a leg to stand on, because in my being obedient to Spirit, some things that had happened during the week that I wouldn't have been able to do every day podcast because of what was transpiring on my end, then I would have felt bad, like, damn, Spirit told me to hold on for a minute. And I just felt like I had so much to talk about and give. No. Because I waited in my obedience. I've already seen some of the rewards that are coming in the ways, in some of the things that I have asked for. Everything goes together. It's a ripple. It's the deposits that I've made in my spiritual bank that now I don't even need to go in to get a withdrawal. They'll see me walking down the street and they'll come and fling money at me, baby. That's where I'm at with my spiritual bank. my brother just came and sat with me. In my obedience of taking the 7 days or whatever, sitting with Spirit, I was able to finally come to terms with something that had happened in my life that I was holding not even a grudge on, but I felt I could have changed the outcome too. Spirit had to break me down, baby, break me down. And just let me know that there was nothing that I could have done. And see, I wouldn't have been able to come. Spirit was not going to give that to me if I was not obedient to what Spirit asked me to do with pausing with the podcast. Because even though I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, even though you're doing what Spirit is supposed to be doing, there are going to be things in that Spirit is going to tell you to stop for a moment. Spirit is going to tell you to look in this direction. Spirit is going to tell you to do this, to do that. And even though it may seem to you like it's not what this is something opposite of or against what you told me to be doing, there's a reason for everything. Be obedient to Spirit. And I know it was because of my obedience that Spirit had that sit down with me. Because it was at like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to go to bed. I've been trying to go to bed for hours. And even though I had thought about recording, Spirit had not told me yet it was time to record. Spirit has not told me it's going to be today. This is what we're doing. Because even though I talk about the journey and I'm proud of you for being on yours, do always remember I say that I am on mine as well. Growth happens for me too. I've grown so many ways and in different areas just doing this with you that I can't help but be grateful, to be thankful. Because I'm obedient to Spirit, so therefore Spirit is giving me little bits and pieces that make up the big foundation of what I'm asking for, what I've wanted, what I'm manifesting. And what's so funny is I'm not selfish. What I'm manifesting, what I'm wanting, has repercussions and is for way more than just me. And I have no kids, so it's not like it's for my kids. No, baby. It's for more than just me. Spirit told me that I was going to be talking about obedience in my dreams. I knew before I woke up what I was going to be talking about. And Spirit just said, just go. And as I've said, I am obedient to Spirit. It may not be 100% of the time, but I hear Spirit 100% of the time that I know of. Spirit just said, you hear me 100% of the time. They hear me 100% of the time. To them, there's always more. There's always more. Thank you for correcting that for me, Spirit. As you grow along this journey, you're going to hear more of your intuition. You're going to feel more of what's right and how you're supposed to move, even if it is against the grain. What you're chosen to do is what you're chosen to do. I feel good, Spirit. Yes. Spirit said that I am done. I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks. I hope this resonates with you. I hope you sit and you think about what it is that I've said. Because I'm not even saying I hope this resonates with you. I know something I said has resonated with you. Take that. Run with that. Your path may be tumultuous. It may be rocky. It may feel like an uphill climb of sheer, straight rock face. But baby, you're climbing. And even though some of us are on a different mountain, a different path, know that we're doing the same on our own, in our own way. And I want you to know you're not alone. You're not alone. You didn't come to my temple today and leave here feeling alone. That's not what this is for. So if you felt alone coming into this, let me be the first to tell you, welcome, baby. You're not alone. I appreciate you, family. I love you so much. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. And our paths just crossing. I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks. Be easy, family. Peace.